right, so let's go into year 9 and oh, look at all this. This is just beautiful. We are already near the finish line. And here's another thing, the big real estate corporations aren't the only ones that are setting aside all kinds of cash in order to buy up as much real estate as possible when the bubble breaks. There are plenty, and I mean plenty, of small landlords that are frothing at the mouth every bit as much over the prospects of expanding their little real estate empires. All you got to do is go search for real estate investment videos that cater to the small guys, and you see all of these real estate investment advisors and gurus telling their viewers stuff like, stash the cash. You got to stash away as much cash as possible now so that you will be in position in order to take advantage of all of those bargains that I know are coming your way. The small landlords, just like the big guys, are not opposed to engaging in these deceptive games of subterfuge. For instance, who has not received one of those martyr-esque, guilt-evading market rate letters from their small landlord saying something like, as we've been charging below market rate rents, we have realized it is only fair that we now raise our rents to market rate. And please keep in mind that we are actually still charging below market rate rents for a home of this caliber in a neighborhood this distinguished, in a city of this prestige, in a region that is this renowned. It's just like, I'm going to give you a clue. Market rate is an average. That means that each and every single time a landlord raises a rent, that pushes market rate up. All right, you see where this is going? Yeah, it's basically this this nifty, ever so clever little game that all of the landlords collectively and willfully participate in order to perpetually give themselves a raise. So the game goes kind of like this. Say over the course of a couple months, maybe a little more, a bunch of different landlords out there utilize the guilt-evading market rate technique to successfully raise their rents, while concurrently absolving themselves from any little pings of guilt they maybe are having. So this pushes market rate up noticeably, which is exactly what all of the other landlords out there have been yearning for, because now they too can utilize the guilt-evading market rate technique to raise their rents, which then pushes up market rate even more. And well, what do you know? Lo and behold, there just happens to be a bunch of other landlords out there who have been waiting by with bated breath for market rate to go up, because now they too can giddily evoke the guilt-evading market rate technique to raise their rents, which pushes market rate up even. It just keeps going around. It's a scam. The landlords are in total control of this game. For instance, if none of the landlords raised their rent, market rate wouldn't go up. And then, God forbid, what excuse would they be able to use to raise their rents? None. And they're not going to do that. So, so basically what they do, it kind of reminds me of like a soccer game. These guys are going down the field trying to get to the goal, and they're passing the ball back and forth. So, this group of landlords, they utilize the guilt-evading market excuse. It's not just a technique, it's an excuse to raise their rents. So now they can pass the market rate ball over to their landlord buddies over there. And so then these guys utilize the guilt-evading market rate excuse to raise their rents. So now they pass the market rate ball back to these guys over here, and then they utilize the guilt-evading market rate excuse to raise their rent. It just keeps going around and around. It's a classic case of a group of people collectively and willfully creating a problem in order to then profiteer by offering up exploitative solutions to the very people they have collectively and willfully negatively impacted with the problem they collectively and willfully created. And what really cracks me up is when they act like they have no idea they're participating in this. They had nothing to do with it. It's like, well, honey, market rate's gone up. Did you hear about that? I guess we're going to have to raise our rents again. I mean, I just can't believe market rates gone up. We had absolutely nothing to do with this. Market rate, it's a widely misunderstood statistic, ripe with false narratives that somehow has become a socially acceptable means of warranting exploitation. In this case, the exploitation being landlords perpetually giving themselves a raise that you then have to perpetually fund at ever increasing rates. And despite the fact that these landlords have done nothing that would, out in the real world, merit them being given a raise. I mean, think about it. What do you have to do to get a raise? Yeah, you got to up your game. You got to take on more responsibility. You got to work harder. You got to prove yourself every moment of every hour of every week of every month. But your landlords, no, they just give themselves a raise, and you pretty much got to pay it. I mean, imagine if you could do that. It's like, you cross paths with your boss at work, and you're like, hey, boss man, 30 days from now, you got to start paying me more. Yeah, your boss would be like, oh, why? You're like, boss, 'cause. Yeah, it ain't going to happen. But that's exactly what is happening with the landlords. They just give themselves a raise, and, despite the fact that they've done nothing that out in the real world of production and the provision of real, legitimate, meaningful services, would never merit them being given a raise. I mean, think about it. What have they done? What have they created? They didn't create the land they've been hoarding and using to profiteer. They typically don't build the structures, the homes that they're hoarding and then leveraging to siphon off the fruits of your labors. They're not putting consistent time and energy and effort, moment after moment, hour after hour, etc., to providing you with any kind of real, legitimate, meaningful service. No, every once in a while they put some time and effort into fixing something, or at least as much time and effort as it takes to read your email and make 2 phone calls. They spend some money fixing things, which is basically the money that you've been giving them. But the bottom line is the time, effort, and energy and money the landlords have been putting into the deal are in no way commensurate with the non-productive wealth gains that they have been building. Real estate investing is so popular to so many people because it enables people to build wealth without actually having to put any of their own time and energy into actually producing something or providing a real, legitimate, meaningful service or actually making some kind of positive contribution to society. No, it's all about non-productive wealth gains, which begs the most fundamental of economic questions we all should be asking. Why do we have an economic system that rewards non-productivity? Why do we have an economic system masquerading as capitalism that not only encourages but handily rewards these schemes to make non-productive incomes? And why do we have an economic system that rewards those who are actually making a negative contribution to society?